Hi, have you ever wondered what makes a Ford Focus better than a Toyota Supra? No, you haven't, because literally no one's ever asked that question before. Well, I'm here for science, to answer the questions that nobody asks. I've compiled a list of pros and cons for 3 cars that are very specific to, well, me, I guess. Here's my findings on why all 3 of my cars are a bad idea. And also, a great idea.
Man, you should be going to MIT or something.
Let's start with the Focus. I made these posters myself. Not bad, right? And I'm gonna be honest with you, I made them a couple days ago and I don't remember what they say underneath. So we're going on this journey together. Let's find out what the pros and cons are of a 2002 SVT Focus. Start with the cons. We'll start at number 3. Let's see what we got. Front wheel drive. That is a pretty obvious one. One of the cons of having this Focus is that I made it have too much power, and it's front wheel drive. So it gets no traction almost all of the time. But that doesn't make it fast, and it makes me lose a lot of races. Makes me feel like I'm a kid again though. I remember when I had a big wheel. Anyway, front wheel drive goes on the con side. Let's move on to number 3 on the pro side. Rare, just like I like my steaks. The Focus is the rarest car I own. Now you might think that's crazy because you see Ford Focuses all the time, but the SVT was a special one. It's right there in the name, Special Vehicle Team. They only made these cars for 3 years, 2002 to 2004, and over that 3-year span they made 14,003 of them. 4,788 of those were in 2002. This has some perks. It makes it a pretty cool car. You get a certificate with it whenever you buy it, letting you know that it has a number associated with it. Mine is number 1221, and it was built on April 18th, 2002. Aftermarket support kind of ties in with the rarity of the car. Basically, the SVT is not like a regular Focus in a lot of ways.
I'm built different.
There are certain parts that you could put on a regular Focus that just don't work for the SVT. So because of how rare it is, there's not a whole lot of companies that want to make aftermarket parts for it because there's just not enough people to sell those parts to. So whenever you want to modify the car, you have to either have custom parts made or you have to work real hard to track down parts that were made a long time ago that someone has sitting in their garage somewhere. Sleeper status. The Focus was not meant to be a fast car. And, as you saw last week, I made mine kind of fast. At least fast enough to where it surprises a lot of people. And whenever you run up across a car that you don't expect to be fast and you get surprised by it, that puts you into sleeper status. Number 1 con. It's still a Focus. So basically, when you own a Ford Focus, no matter what you do to it, this is a comment that you're gonna get. You can build the fastest, most unique, coolest looking Ford Focus on the planet, and no matter what happens, someone's still gonna say, yeah, but it's still a Focus. Or, why would you put that much work into a Focus? I'll tell you why. Because it's fun and it's different. It's one of my favorite things about the car. I can take this car basically to any car show, car meet, get together, and I'm probably going to be the only Focus there, let alone an SVT Focus. That's changed a little bit over the years with the introduction of the Focus ST, kind of like exploding the Focus market. So you do get a lot more Focuses out there. I guess you could tack on that whenever I tell people I drive a Focus, that everyone assumes that it's an ST. You don't get a whole lot of people knowing what an SVT Focus is. And I always have to end up explaining that even though it's an older one, it's still turboed. And it shocks a lot less people now that the ST exists because Focuses come from the factory with a turbo. So whenever you tell somebody that you have a 2002 turboed Focus, nobody thinks that you did it yourself, which is fine. I don't want credit for doing it myself, but I did it myself. All right, the #1 pro of owning a 2002 SVT Focus is... That's right, nostalgia. This one only applies to me. I'm the only person that's nostalgic about this particular car. Now I think that there are other people, hopefully people watching this video, that own SVT Focuses that also feel this way about their car. But for me, there's a huge nostalgia factor whenever I drive this car, see this car. It's basically my first car, and honestly I think it's so cool that I've got to keep it this entire time. Because your first car is always intertwined with memories of high school and friends and being young and being adventurous. And every time I get into this car, I kind of get taken back to that time a little bit, which on this list that matters to really nobody else but me is #1 for sure. There's nothing quite like hopping into your Ford Focus and throwing in that Nickelback CD and transporting yourself back to high school. It's probably where I peaked. I haven't even begun to peak. And there it is, my 3 top pros and cons of owning an SVT Focus. Moving on. Time for bed. Next up, my 2003 Evo V. Let's start with the 3rd place con. Expensive to break. Now, I don't know that that's exactly true of all Evos, but for me, this car has gotten to the point where if I were to break it right now, all of the parts that are on it are expensive, which leads me to always hoping real hard that it doesn't break. Should probably go knock on some wood. I'll be right back. Housekeeping. Now the opposite of the Focus, it looks like the #3 Pro for the Evo is the aftermarket support. Because any aftermarket part that you need, or any factory part that you need for that matter, you're probably gonna be able to find it. There are tons of companies out there that continually support the Evo's platform. Anything that you want to do to this car has probably been done before. So someone has laid out a perfect path for you to follow, and it makes it so much easier to modify a car when that's the case. And I don't think that the aftermarket support for the Evo is going anywhere anytime soon. It's a very, very popular platform that people continue to push forward performance-wise, and it's very cool to be able to just kind of get whatever you need for the car to do exactly what you want to do with your version of it. #2! Who put this tape on? #2. The transfer case. This one's an overall Evo issue, but for me in particular, it's the last part of the car that I really have not modified, and therefore is sort of the weak link in the chain right now. So if anything does break, #3, it's probably going to be the transfer case, #2. And as you can see, I'm scared to break the parts of the car that might break. Anyway, #2, the pros. This is painter's tape, it's not supposed to tear. Anyway, that says respect, and I jokingly wrote it with a K. I know that it has a C in it. Now what I mean by respect is that no matter where you take this car, no matter what group of car enthusiast type you end up around, there's always gonna be just a little bit of respect for the car. The car is so capable in so many different aspects that if you take it around a group of drag racers, that they respect that it can be fast. If you take it around a group of road course racers or autocrossers, they respect that the car is very capable on a road course or an autocross course. If you take it to a car show, it gets respected. If you take it to... what other type of car enthusiast is there? If you take it to a drift event, thanks to Tokyo Drift, people will respect it. And Tokyo Drift is not the best Fast and Furious. There are people out there that think #3 is the best. I mean, if you don't think #1 is the best, what are you even doing? You have Number 3 doesn't fit into the timeline, the actors. Anyway, the car gets respect. Let's see what the number 1 con is. Lack of cons. Obviously, I love this car. It's very fun to drive. I actually had a really hard time coming up with cons. I thought of some things that could potentially be cons, but they're maybe just like minor inconveniences. The car has a very wide turning radius. If you try and do a U-turn in an Evo, you're probably going to end up in a state over. If you have an MR, the 6 speeds are known to be a little weak. There are a couple areas on the car that are prone to rust. The interior isn't that nice. It's a little plastic feeling, but the seats are great. There's always some type of redeeming factor about the thing that it's bad at, like the turning radius does suck, but the steering feels great. If you guys can think of any cons, let me know. And the number 1 pro of an Evo? That's right, you guessed it. It's all-wheel drive. The car's all-wheel drive. The Evo just hooks up all the time, no matter what gear you're in, no matter what RPM you're at, which is a big benefit. I mean, the car can very easily be a daily driver. Mine can't because I've ruined it. But because it's all-wheel drive, I used to drive the Evo in the snow all the time. I used to look forward to the snow because it was so much fun to take that car out in a parking lot and just slide around in the snow. You can give it to your elderly grandmother and know that whenever she takes that corner into her neighborhood at 90 miles per hour, she's probably in safe hands. All-wheel drive is sort of like a band-aid for being bad at driving. And I'm bad at driving, so it helps me out. Which is why it's the number 1 pro of my 2003 Evo 8. Moving on. And finally, the one that you've all been probably waiting for. I don't think anyone's been waiting for any of this. My 1994 Supra. Let's dive right in. Painter's tape. Attention. The car gets so much attention to the point where sometimes it's dangerous. Driving this car down the highway and people swerving and slamming on their brakes to try and take pictures of it is sort of dangerous. People will drive pretty erratically to try and get a photo of a car. That sort of stuff happens when you're driving a Supra around. Also, you can't take this car anywhere where you're trying to get in and out quick, because you're gonna get stopped by somebody and have to have a 30-minute conversation. And I love those conversations, but sometimes I just wanna run into the gas station, grab a hot dog and a box of wine, and head home and watch the latest episode of Love Island. That being said, if someone has questions about it, or someone likes it, or someone wants to take a picture, the answer is never no. Value. That's a good one. I mean, of course it is, I put it on the list. The value of the car basically continuously goes up. I like to think of it as an investment. Now, it's not quite investing in the S&P 500, but I like to think that I'll never have to worry about selling the car for less than I bought it for, which is unusual in the automotive world. But with the Supra, the value of the car seems to just go up. People want these cars. They're very sought after. There's not very many of them. Let's go to the number 2 con. Number 2 con. The value of the car keeps going up, but I'm not rich. I don't know if the way I just worded it there makes any sense, but I'm not rich. And that's a con of the car because it's a Supra. And in order to buy a Supra, you typically have to have some money. And because aftermarket companies know that you have some money, they'll put a Supra tax on the parts, which is just saying that people that can buy this car can afford nice things, so they can pay a little bit of extra money for the parts. Not saying that they're not good parts, but in contrast to something like a Honda Civic, where you can buy an exhaust for $4, the Supra parts tend to be quite expensive. Another aspect of the I'm not rich con is that I'm not rich, but people seem to think that I am because I own that car. My other car is not a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or a Porsche. It's a Ford Focus. Sorry. Number 2 Pro. 2JZ engine. I ran out of room. Of course, a pro of the Supra is the legendary 2JZ engine.
Off the hood.
Now, I haven't really explored the potential of the 2JZ to its potential, but I plan to. I know that this car is very capable of making power without doing too much work to it, and that's the plan. Now, the 2JZ in a lot of areas in the automotive world would probably be considered top 3, definitely top 5 engines of all time. Toyota just built a very stout engine that can handle just about anything that you throw at it with the reliability that comes with a Toyota. Now, in the end, it's a very strong engine. It's an iron block. It has a ton of aftermarket support, and boy, do it sure sound good too. Throw a straight pipe on that bad boy, rev it to the moon and make some noise, and you're gonna be a happy camper. All right, the number 1 con of owning a Toyota Supra is assumptions. Now, until my Toyota Supra makes 1,000 horsepower and has a 2-step on it, I don't like that everyone assumes that it does. I'm just kidding, I kind of like it. That's why I put the big tires on the back of it. I want it to look like it's real fast. Basically, anytime you take this car out, the type of attention that it gets, I don't understand. The tape is peeling off the letters. It kind of makes me mad. I bought the cheapest tape possible. Oh, painter's tape is supposed to come off easy. When you buy the cheap stuff, it doesn't come off easy. It's like the opposite of what you want out of regular tape. Huh. Noted. Anyway, until my car lives up to those expectations and assumptions, every time I take it out, I get yelled at. 2-step, dude. Let's hear it. Let's do 2-step. It doesn't have a 2-step, okay? I'm working on it. It's not that loud right now. I want it to be louder. My neighbors want it to be louder. I've heard. It's part of the HOA. Make your Supra louder. I'm not rich. I'll get there eventually, okay? Eventually, whenever you say, do 2-step, I'll be like, all right, tight. And floor it and do 2-step and it'll sound cool. Number 1 Pro. Attention! Now, you might be saying, Kevin, you guys all know my name, but number 3 on the con side was attention. That doesn't make any sense. How can it be number 1 on the pro side? And that is because, I love the attention so much. I actually don't like attention in normal situations. I don't like being in the front of a room giving a presentation. I don't like my picture being taken. None of these things make any sense for somebody who started a YouTube channel. But when it comes to my cars, the things that I work really hard on, I actually kind of do like the attention. The attention that I get when I drive this car around is a different kind of attention. It's the kind of attention that I would give to the same car. I've discussed in a previous video that one of the coolest things about owning a Toyota Supra is the fact that before I had one, I dreamed about having one. And even if I was having the worst day possible, if I was driving down the street and I saw a Toyota Supra, it completely turned that day around. The excitement that I would feel whenever I saw one is now passed on to other people whenever I drive that car around. And that's the kind of attention that I like the car getting. I like it when I drive that car and I can physically see when they get super excited and come up to me at the gas station and say, oh man, this car is so cool. I've always dreamed of having one. Do you mind if I take a picture of it? It's like, of course you can take a picture of it. That's awesome. I'm glad that this car makes you happy because it also makes me happy. This is probably turning a little sappy at this point, but I don't care. Listen to me. Just so much fun to be able to see that reaction out of people. And it is the #1 reason why I like the Supra so much. Beyond the fact that it is my dream car, I just love so much that it brings joy to other people when they get to experience it. It's a ton of fun. All right, as you can see here, to sum up this video, I've given each of the cars a superlative. I don't know if I'm using that word right. These are basically just my final sum up of each of the cars. For the Focus, the big takeaway is all up in my feels. The reason that I love this car so much is because it was my first car. And it just brings me back to a simpler time every time I get in it. And the Evo? Well, jack of all trades. The car's just kind of good at everything. I like it for so many reasons that I couldn't even come up with 3 cons or 3 reasons that I didn't like it. I mean, it looks good sitting still and it looks better moving and it's a blast to drive. And the Supra, clout machine. I wonder if like somebody watches this video like a couple years from now, if clout even is a word still, and I'm probably too old to be using it. But to sum up the Supra, it just gets so much attention no matter where you bring it. I can never drive that car without someone recognizing what it is and just getting excited about it and making me realize that I do make good decisions when I buy cars. So as you can see, all of these cars have their own character, and each of these cars is both a burden and also very special to me at the same time. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Which one is your favorite, and did I miss any reasons that these cars are good or bad? And all 3 of these cars are probably terrible financial decisions, but I wouldn't trade them for anything. Unless you have a GT3 RS. And we'll talk.
Wanna see you dance.